aspect of things, right? So you're certain of this to the point where you've never really thought of, at least not for 10 years or so, you've never really thought that you may be misinterpreting things, that there may not be a covert group of people spending millions of dollars a year to harass you with knocks and noises and invisible energy weapons, right? So what is it that gives you this level of certainty about this? Because if you're wrong, that's terrible, right? If you're wrong about this, if there isn't a big covert group of people spending millions of dollars to harass you with energy weapons and knocking noises, then that would be a terrible thing because it would ruin your life.
So I never used the term millions of dollars. So he has made this uh, millions of dollars figure on his own. Now, if I am a layperson and I'm thinking like what would it cost to do this kind of harassment, I would say maybe $1,000 a day, maybe $3,000, $30,000 a month. So for an year, it would be about $300,000. And some would say that that is really high, like $1,000 a day, but he's saying millions of dollars. So I don't know where he's getting his figure from. I suspect that he knows a little bit more about this than I do, which he's not letting on. And so that's pretty interesting.
And it would never be solved because the problem then is inside your head rather than out there in the world. So
well, that is the claim that the problem is inside your head. That is exactly the claim which the perpetrators of this harassment uh, uh, um, want to make, and the beneficiaries of this harassment. So, and the harassment has been designed in that way, so it doesn't leave any visible proof of injury. So it leads to something like increased heart rate without any reason, leads to increased blood pressure, or leads to wooziness and lack of concentration and nausea, disorientation. That the language that he's speaking actually is the language of of the people who are benefiting uh, from this harassment and who have a stake in executing this harassment. So the harassment agency who are actually doing this, so they actually are asserting that. So he's speaking their language, which is uncanny.
If you're wrong about this, you're destroying your life completely and you're destroying your relationship with your child.
That again, so basically, uh, it's kind of like when somebody says that if you don't do this, your life is going to be destroyed unless you accept this or unless you admit this. And that is exactly what these harassment agencies are doing. They are bullying, they are using these covert harassment tactics to intimidate and bully and to force uh, a person to do something. So in my case, it's the custody battle that we have going on. And they are, these harassment agencies are also saying that unless you uh, accept that it is a mental uh, issue, it's an imagination problem, your life is going to be destroyed. And actually, it has turned out to be that way. So, because I've not been able to effectively counter this harassment for the past 3 years, and so these harassment agencies exactly want. This is a message from harassment agencies and the perpetrators of this harassment. They are communicating that unless you admit that the problem is with you, your life will be destroyed. You will be destroyed. And to a certain extent, that has happened. But I'm able to record this video, so and I'm able to speak about this. So it uh, 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 hasn't happened that much that I can't resist this. But the point I want to make is that he's using the language which the harassment agencies want to use.
child, you're precluding any possibility of getting back together with your wife, you're destroying your career, you're destroying your health.
She's not my wife. We have been divorced for 3 years.
You're destroying your peace of mind, you're destroying.
So that's destroying your peace of mind, destroying your career. So those are the threats. They're coming from harassment agencies. So I'm wondering if Stefan is now acting as a spokesperson for these harassment agencies. We'll see.
Your capacity for intimacy and friendship and love and connection and community.
So basically, you're losing friends. You're going to lose your friends unless you admit that it's all your imagination. You're going to lose your life. You're going to lose everything that you have. And that exactly is a message which these harassment agencies have been communicating.
And you name it. So if you're wrong, it is a wanton act of self-destruction.
I am not wrong, and it's not a wanton act of self-destruction. It's the only thing I can do, because that is the truth.
So you have to, knowing what the cost is, and you phoned in or you wrote in because you know the cost.
So he's driving home the point that the cost is too high if you keep insisting on saying that it is harassment. It's true, the cost has been high.
Cost of this, Sanjay, right? So given the cost, you would have to have a very high standard of proof, because the cost is unbearable, right? This is an unbearable existence to live, which you have, right? So tell me how you got to the certainty.
Yeah, so it is unbearable. So again, he keeps repeating what is the whole objective of this harassment. So it makes life unbearable. It can destroy the career. It can destroy your relations, because it's so hard to prove, and authorities will not take action, and authorities are complicit in this. And this is exactly the message that these harassment agencies want to send, that stop calling this harassment, or you're screwed.
That holds this up.
So one proof that I have, which is why I am certain in my beliefs, is that when I'm able to evade harassment, then I feel totally different. So, for example, in 2009, when my ex-wife got together and we had patched up, the harassment immediately stopped. After that, there were no such noises, repeated noises harassing me, no tracking and surveillance, no dizziness or disorientation or swollen eyes or feeling of nausea. So that was one. And then in the past 3 years, there have been many times, because I've been constantly on my toes trying to evade this harassment. So I am changing my places, I'm changing where I sleep. Sometimes I sleep in my car, sometimes I go to my Airbnb, sometimes I go to a friend's place. So many times when I'm successfully able to be in a secure place where it's not possible or the harassment agencies are not able to expose me to the noises or active devices, I sleep really well. I wake up refreshed. My body feels entirely different.
When you feel secure, right? When you feel secure, you're happier.
No, it's the other way around. So I go to some new place, and I don't know if I'm secure here or not, because it's covert. So it's not announced to me that we are going to expose you. It's not announced. So only the next day I'm able to tell whether these agencies were able to expose me or not. So I don't know before fact that I'm secure.
Okay, let me ask you this, Sanjay.
Yeah.
Has it occurred for you that other people are in the room when this knocking or these sounds occur? And what do they do?
Yeah, so Stefan, I would request you to think of the.
So I was explaining my conclusion, my reason for being certain that it is harassment and covert harassment. And so I gave a reason, and he did not hold on to it, but moved on to the next question.
Room when this knocking or these sounds occur, and what do they do?
Yeah, so Stefan, I would request you to think of this also as a psychological form of terror. So
I'm sorry, a
very
psychological form of what?
Psychological form of terror and harassment. So there's a very significant psychological component here in this harassment.
Are you going to? So I just want to cut it short because we've been talking for over 2 hours. So I don't want to mean the whole conversation, but so you're going to tell me that no one else has heard these sounds because it's more torturous for you if they don't?
No, they have heard. They have heard.
Oh, they've heard the sounds.
Yes.
Who's heard the sounds?
For example, my roommates I've stayed with. My relatives or brothers I've stayed with.
Oh, your relatives in India, say?
Yes. So actually, yeah, I wanted to. So I've been to India multiple times between 2000.
Okay, so I don't need the whole background. So other people have heard these sounds. Are they also getting hit with the energy weapons?
No, they are not.
So how do the energy weapons just hit you? If they're through a wall, how do they know where you are?
Well, I mean, that is a couple of things. So first, they have to pinpoint the location of the target, which is me, and then they have to be able to target the energy device on me. So that's two different things. And there are ways and means that can be done. There is science, there is technology around. Now it's not in the public domains.
So it's just science and technology is your answer.
That's true.
That's not an answer. Okay.
So I mean, and so science and technology is not the answer. So would it be like shadowy, sinister figures, as he had mentioned before? That would have been the answer, or like energy weapons deployed in space by extraterrestrial entities. Would that have been answer? So science. So when I say that science and technology, it doesn't want to listen. So this is really goofy because I know from hearing many podcasts of Stefan's that he has strong faith in science and technology. So he believes that science is reason, and without reason, you cannot conclude anything. You cannot do anything. Civilization won't be there. But when I say science and technology, he is mocking me, and so that is very disingenuous again. So he's basically, it's kind of like a mental filter going on, just like the lady who had come to meet me in the police station. So every time I speak of reason and technology, he doesn't want to listen. He doesn't want to discuss that. But he is trying to push me towards that. Admit it that it's shadows. It's invisible, sinister is something nobody can understand. So I think there is a purpose behind that. So and I believe that because he's being so disingenuous about this, or disingenuous, I'm sorry, I forgot the word. So he's not being honest about this. He is pushing me in the direction of admitting or of acknowledging that there is something which is unreasonable about this. While there is nothing unreasonable, this is all science and technology. All the technology is there. It can be used.